as a kid, growing up in not so good environments. My dad was friends with all sorts of people. Okay, he had black dudes he was good friends with. He had the white boys he was good friends with. He had the bikers he was good friends with, and they'd all be around, right? And even in my own little intuitive little mind, I knew they were good but bad, you know what I mean? Like, I knew these biker dudes they're just grown-up children in some cases, you know what I mean? Just wanted to be rebellious, wanted to be free, and breaking the law, but at the same time, they wanted to just be like, "Hey, the everyman." So I've always wondered, like, it's sort of this interesting mystique about it, you know? What's been your experience with that side of it?
Well, I mean, I think it's a very unique, interesting subculture, and a lot of aspects of it make sense to me. And there's other aspects that don't, but I can see what draws people to it, especially guys that were in the military, because there is a paramilitary structure to it and a hierarchy. And so it's something that they can identify with and, something that they understand how it works. They understand coming in as a regular member and having people that they report to and then trying to, rise up in the ranks themselves to where they have a position of power. So I think it's comfortable in that regard. And I also think just because of the amount of, machismo involved in it and, the chest thumping and so forth. I think for a lot of these guys, it's just kind of a natural, you know, I went from being deployed with my brothers to I'm going to be deployed in the streets with my brothers, but we have a different enemy now. It used to be Al Qaeda, the Taliban. Now it's a rival club, another patch.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I can see how that would attract a lot of veterans like that because it gives you that sense of camaraderie, that sense of adventure. I'd make a terrible biker. Just I don't like I like motorcycles, but I rather just look at them. You know what I mean? Too many accidents. I've seen them. But I totally get that. Totally get that. But the truth is, though, within that culture is that subculture of just criminality, plain old murder, extortion, drug dealing, and that's when law enforcement has to take action, right? And tell me about your experience in that area.
Well, I think you've got basically two types of individuals that get involved in these groups. You've got people that get involved potentially for the right reasons or for what they think are the right reasons. And then you do have people that get involved flat out for the criminal side because they think it's going to be an enhancement to them criminally. And in some cases, it is. I mean, the fact that you've got an infrastructure, you've got, you know, a patch that's got a reputation attached to it, people are going to be less like to cross you with something like that. But I think with the guys that really get into it with bad intentions, they're going to find bad things. And I think a lot of times your violence and things like that, it boils right down to that, where they get so obsessed with this mindset that, we are the dominant group in a particular area. And in reality, they could probably not have to work too hard to avoid another group, but they go out and seek them out because they want that conflict. They want, basically they want to be able to, put their stamp on these guys and say, we're the toughest in the schoolyard. And I think that's where we run into the majority of our problems. I mean, we're always going to have the drug dealers, we're always going to have the felons with guns and the guys that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But I think at the core of it, the just large scale violence where they're doing things in public venues, that's the biggest threat to everyone, especially to the general public.